monkey needs to dance, so do you.
You disgust me. You are nothing but an animal.
We are all animals, my lady.
We are all animals.
Das Tierrechtsradio auf Radio Laura. Here we go. Welcome to the Animal Rights Radio, or Tierrechtsradio, as we call it here on Radio Laura, our independent radio station in Zurich, Switzerland. I am Nina, and today we're going to talk about something called vegan washing. Just a quick info before we start. This show is usually in German, and this is actually the first time I'll be doing the hosting in English, so please forgive any weird pronunciation or whatever you hear that sounds wrong over the next 45 minutes. Also, there will be a German version in the second part of the show, so stay tuned if you want to hear that, or go find the podcast on our YouTube channel called Tierrechtsradio Schweiz. Now let's get started. What is this vegan washing thing? I've actually come across the term for the first time myself not too long ago. A friend of mine mentioned it as she was talking about another, maybe better known phenomenon called pinkwashing. And pinkwashing, according to Wikipedia, is the practice of a state or company presenting itself as gay-friendly and progressive in order to downplay their negative behavior. For example, have you ever heard of Israel being a paradise for the LGBT community? Or have you heard of Tel Aviv being the most vegan-friendly city of the world? Well, if you have, it's not surprising, because the state of Israel has actually been investing a lot of money into promoting itself as a cool, innovative, and progressive hub. To illustrate this, here's a little compilation of YouTube videos I found promoting Tel Aviv to be the world vegan capital.
A monkey needs to dance, so do you.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're here for the first time, then I'm Shir, and today we are in Tel Aviv city, one of the most vegan-friendly cities on the planet, and I am really excited to take you on a tour of my personal favorite restaurants and spots in the city. So if you're ready, let's go!
12 years ago, when we opened the restaurant, there were only vegetarian people. So slowly, in the last 12 years, this has changed. People moved from being vegetarian to being vegan. And because we felt that this was what the community is asking for, we also changed from being vegetarian to being more vegan.
Nanushka is a Georgian restaurant, and it sells 15 years lamb and chicken and cows. You understand it's not good energy you can put in your body. If you have good wine and good cha-cha, you can eat a lot of good food without meat and be happy.
In Israel, there are many vegan people. When we first opened the restaurant, there was like 20,000 vegan people in Tel Aviv. These days, 3 years later, there are approximately 40,000 vegan people. The Daily Mail chose Tel Aviv for the capital vegan city of the world.
That was a long day filled with a lot of delicious vegan food. I am personally stuffed, and maybe I'll do another vegan food video for you guys, because Tel Aviv city has so many more amazing vegan restaurants to show you guys. And if you noticed throughout the video, you saw the vegan friendly logo in all the places I visited. So once you visit Israel, just look for that logo and you will know if what you're going to eat is vegan or not. I'm sending you all the love in the world from my sweaty country, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!
So that was a little compilation of a few videos I found when I searched for vegan capital on YouTube. And the first one that showed up is actually from a channel simply called Israel. Now, this is interesting because when you click on the channel, it looks like some kind of tourism channel. But when you follow the link to their Facebook page, you find out that this is actually the official channel of Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We'll talk about why this is not surprising in a minute, but first I would like to say a big thank you to Laura Schleifer. Laura is a Jewish, pro-intersectional, Palestinian solidarity and animal rights activist, and it's because of listening to a bunch of interviews with her that I got a lot of the information I'll be sharing with you today. So thanks to Laura for giving me permission to use her as a source, and also thanks to the makers of a podcast called the Vegan Vanguard. We'll link to both of them on our Facebook page, or you can find them directly on Facebook and YouTube. That's Laura Schleifer and the Vegan Vanguard. Do check them out. We'll take a little break now with a song and then look into a bit of history in order to understand what this vegan washing thing is all about. So stay tuned.
Tú nos dices que debemos sentarnos, pero las ideas solo pueden levantarnos, caminar, recorrer, no rendirse ni retroceder, ver, aprender como esponja, absorber. Nadie sobre todos, faltan todos, suman todos para todos, todo para nosotros. Soñamos en grande que se caiga el imperio, lo gritamos alto, no queda más remedio. Esto no es utopía, es alegre rebeldía del baile de los que sobran de la danza tuya y mía. Levantarnos para decir ya basta. Ni África ni América Latina se suba. Con barro, con casco, con lápiz a patear el fiasco. Provocar un social terremoto en este charco. صار الوضع بده الردع لكل كتير بتحرر مستوطن بتلمد لكل مصافح بيد ألف كان ألف راق بالهد دار الإعلام سلاح مطيب كبركوت أما لما ألمي يدين برجع الواقع كما todos los callados todos los omitidos todos los invisibles todos los callados todos los omitidos todos los invisibles todos saqueo, pisoteo, colonización, Matías, Catrileo, Gualmapu, 1000 veces venceremos, del cielo al suelo y del suelo al cielo vamos. Caballito blanco, vuelve pa' tu pueblo, no te tenemos miedo, tenemos vida y fuego, fuego en nuestras manos, fuego en nuestros ojos, tenemos tanta vida y esta fuerza color rojo. La niña María no quiere tu castigo, se va a liberar con el suelo palestino. Somos africanos, latinoamericanos, somos este sur y juntamos nuestras manos. Todos los callados, todos los omitidos, todos los invisibles, todos los callados, todos los omitidos, todos los invisibles,
Welcome back to the Tierrechtsradio. That was Anna Tijoux with Shadia Mansour, who is a British-born Palestinian rapper. The show today is about the vegan washing of Israel, which is an effort of the Israeli Foreign Ministry to basically whitewash the situation in Palestine in order to be more attractive to tourists, vegan tourists in this case. Now, to understand why Israel had to start advertising to vegans, let me just freshen up your knowledge of the Israel-Palestine conflict a bit. So, one myth about this conflict is that it has been going on for centuries and that it's about a deeply rooted animosity between Jews and Muslims. In fact, Middle Eastern Jews and Muslims used to live side by side in peace. This only changed in the early 1900s with the rise of Zionism in Europe, which said that Judaism is not only a religion but a nationality, which deserved a nation of its own. Of course, this had to do with Jewish people being prosecuted for centuries, so many of them believed that the Jewish state was their only hope for safety, and they saw their historic homeland in the Middle East. After World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and the British and French Empire divided the Middle East amongst them, leading to British rule in Palestine. So only then was European Jewish immigration first allowed, and only then did the tensions between Jews and Arabs start to happen. Later, after World War II and the Holocaust, many more Jews went to British Palestine and the tensions got worse. So, in 1947, the UN decided to divide British Palestine into two separate states, Israel for the Jews and Palestine for the Arabs, with Jerusalem remaining an international zone. This was supposed to end the sectarian violence that the British could no longer control. Except, of course, it made everything worse. Many Arab states in the region did not agree with this plan, because they saw it as just more European colonialism trying to steal their land. So they declared war on Israel, which they lost, because Israel had all the support from Europe and the United States. Now, this following bit is important. In the process of this war, Israel pushed way past the borders that the UN had assigned to them, basically occupying territories that were never supposed to be part of Israel. In doing so, they expelled huge amounts of Palestinians from their homes, namely over 700,000, creating a massive refugee population. This expulsion is actually referred to by Palestinians as Nakba, which literally means disaster or catastrophe in Arabic. Later, a series of laws were passed by the Israeli government, preventing the people from returning to their homes and claiming their properties. And that is why, to this day, counting their descendants, there are still about 7 million Palestinian refugees who never got to return to their homes. So at this point, in 1948, Israel controlled basically all of Palestine except Gaza and the West Bank, which they seized later on in the Six-Day War of 1976. Ever since then, Israel is controlling all of what used to be Palestine, which is in fact an illegal violation of international law. Gaza, the West Bank, and East Jerusalem have never been recognized as Israeli, and they remain military-occupied territories until today. We're going to listen to another song now, and then just talk a little bit more about Gaza before we go into the actual subject of vegan washing. This is Listen to My Story by Palestine.
Upon a time not long ago, there was a kid dreaming of freedom in the land of the Lord. Called him fanatic, but the kid had mad talent. He ran the streets cause he knew we gotta hustle, especially when the pain always confronts you. Think back about the time when I used to sit back, chill, doing nothing but rap. I just kick back, write rhymes, Palestine stay on my mind. Chose the name cause my game's not for the fame, it's for culture, happiness and pride. Took my vultures, king of our freedom is still the king of tomorrow. My thought is like an ocean, it's too deep for y'all to follow. That's why your ears numb and you hear the truth. If I could, yo, I never fucking leave the mic booth. Sing along, if y'all don't, then fucking I'm still on. Cause whatever y'all say, yo, my dream is still strong. Cause many يسمعني ويسمع حديثي خليك الدنيا أنا بيشوف حياتي life is all fucked up. Everybody's stuffed, everything is so fucked up. Fucked up the track, left it there really fucked up. Less original skills, I thrill when I touch up. Life is full of big sacrifices, bigger than life itself. Why you think the empire fell? Is it cause what goes up really must come down? What if it goes worldwide and fuck up your town? Take caution, stand aside, it's firm action. Deal with it, got no time, we fear nothing. Be ready for war, swear to God I'm not bluffing. Hope that you'll understand we got to fight back. That's right, black military waving on the white flag. Feeling the rush like a punch getting thrown back. People up on knees, feeding before peace. The wire is always blaming on the Middle East. Who's ready to come and listen to my story? Who's ready to come and witness the true God? I thought we said it before, we want peace. Time for us to leave that bullshit behind. Who's ready to come and listen to my story? Who's ready to come and witness the true God? I thought we said it before, we want peace. Time for us to leave that bullshit behind. Yo, please let me spit this, I bleed lyrical fitness. For the poor, envy and greed is still business. Cause money talk louder than the freedom of speech. I guess they don't teach what they do and don't do what they teach. Fall asleep cause the weed and the liquor is still cheap. Breathe in, never breathe out. Die by the gun, used to be a lone soldier, still you living your son. Now you're one of those people that can't taught me to write, recite like mathematical lines and get it right. I lay at night thinking about all of the shit. The clock's ticking. Some say that God's words are written. Well, I don't give a fuck. God told me keep spitting. Who's ready to come and witness the true God? I thought we said it before, we want peace. Time for us to leave that bullshit behind. Who's ready to come and listen to my story? Who's ready to come and witness the true God? I thought we said it before, we want peace. Time for us to leave that bullshit behind.
Welcome back to the Tierrechtsradio, the animal rights radio show on Radio Laura. Our show today is about the vegan washing of Israel, and before the break we looked quickly into the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict. There's really a lot more to it, of course, but there's just one more thing I want to mention now, and that's about the current situation in Gaza. Unlike in the West Bank, there are no Israeli settlements in Gaza today, because Israel had to withdraw them all as Hamas took over the government of Gaza in 2007. Remember, Gaza is a military-occupied territory and therefore de facto ruled, but not officially part of the State of Israel. So, after this happened, Israel decided to punish the people of Gaza by imposing a suffocating blockade on the area, trapping the people of Gaza inside what is basically an open-air prison. Over the years, they have cut power and gas, denied access to food and medicine, and regularly bombed the area, making countless civilian casualties. This is still happening in Gaza today, and it's in fact worse than it's ever been before. So this brings us to Israel's image problem, which of course was also connected to a large international solidarity campaign with Palestine. This campaign obviously had affected Israel's popularity ratings, especially with young liberals in America. So in 2006, the Israel Foreign Ministry decided to give the nation a whole new image by creating a campaign called Brand Israel that would completely rebrand them and be designed specifically for those young liberals. Brand Israel invested huge amounts of money into market research, actually collaborating with major advertising agencies in New York to find out what appeals to young progressive Americans. They found that big keywords they had to look into were gay rights, feminism, and, surprise, animal rights and veganism. We'll take another musical break now and then talk about what Brand Israel came up with to make Tel Aviv become known as the plant-based capital of the world. This is Yassiri X with Checkpoint.
hard times, tales from the dark side, evidence of the settlements on my hard drive. Man, I swear my heart died at the end of that car ride. When I saw that checkpoint, welcome to apartheid. Soldiers wear military green at the checkpoint. Automatic guns, that's machine at the checkpoint. Tables not M16s at the checkpoint. Fingers on the trigger, you'll get leaned at the checkpoint. Little children grown adults and teens at the checkpoint. All your papers better be clean at the checkpoint. Gotta put your finger on the screen at the checkpoint and pray that red light turns green at the checkpoint. And Martin Luther King had a dream of the checkpoint. He wake with loud screams from the scenes at the checkpoint. Is Malcolm X by any means at the checkpoint? Imagine if your daily routine was the checkpoint.
And Martin Luther King had a dream of the checkpoint. He wake with loud screams from the scenes at the checkpoint. Is Malcolm X by any means at the checkpoint? Imagine if your daily routine was the checkpoint.
Separation walls that surround in the checkpoint. On top is barbed wire like a crown on the checkpoint. Better have your permits if you found at the checkpoint. Gumming on the tower, aiming down at the checkpoint. Idea is to keep you in fear at the checkpoint. Enter through the cage in the rear of the checkpoint. Feels like prison on a tier at the checkpoint. I'd rather be anywhere but here at this checkpoint. Nelson Mandela wasn't blind to the checkpoint. He stood for free Palestine at a checkpoint. Support BDS, don't give a dime to the checkpoint. This is international crime at the checkpoint. Arabs get treated like dogs at the checkpoint, cause discrimination is the law at the checkpoint. Criminalized without a cause at the checkpoint. I'm just telling you what I saw at the checkpoint. Soldiers got bad attitudes at the checkpoint. Condescending and real rude at the checkpoint. Don't look them in their eyes when they move at the checkpoint. They might strip a man or woman nude at the checkpoint. Soldiers might blow you out the shoes at the checkpoint. Gas you up and in like the fuse at the checkpoint. Every day you stand to be accused at the checkpoint. Each time your life you can lose at the checkpoint. And Martin Luther King had a dream of the checkpoint. He wake with loud screams from the scenes at the checkpoint. Is Malcolm X by any means at the checkpoint? Imagine if your daily routine was the checkpoint.
And Martin Luther King had a dream of the checkpoint. He wake with loud screams from the scenes at the checkpoint. Is Malcolm X by any means at the checkpoint? Imagine if your daily routine was the checkpoint.
At the airport in Tel Aviv is the checkpoint. They pulled over our taxi at the checkpoint. Passport, visa, ID at the checkpoint. Soldiers going on through my things at the checkpoint. I was high risk security at the checkpoint, cause of the oppression I see at the checkpoint. Occupation in the 3rd degree at the checkpoint. All the nigga wanna do is leave, fuck a checkpoint.
Hey there, we're back with the Animal Rights Radio Show, which is once more also about human rights because those two can never be separated. Our subject today is about the vegan washing of Israel. And before the break, we were talking about Brand Israel, a campaign to rebrand the nation in order to cover up their image problem. Now we're going to look into something called Vibe Israel, which is actually part of the Brand Israel campaign. And since we've talked about Tel Aviv becoming known as the world vegan capital, well, Vibe Israel is largely responsible for that. Their goal is to, quote, change the conversation about Israel one influencer at a time. What this means is they organize free tours to Israel and invite so-called influencers, so people with a big influence on social media, in order to reach their audience with a positive message about Israel. So recently, for example, they've invited 4 hugely influential vegan food bloggers. You might have heard of them. They're Caitlin Shoemaker, aka From My Bowl, Sweet Simple Vegan, Rebel Recipes, and The Buddhist Chef, who all have between 50,000 and 275 followers on Instagram. So these bloggers got to spend the week in Tel Aviv on a 100% sponsored tour, eating for free at all the best vegan restaurants, seeing only the best of what Israel has to offer. Then they made a bunch of exciting videos about their experience, praising Tel Aviv and its vegan scene, reaching hundreds of thousands of people, effectively advertising for the Israeli Foreign Ministry. Now, of course, this is not to say that all these bloggers are bad people or that they're consciously working for the Israeli state. Most of them probably didn't realize what they were supporting. But it remains a fact, unfortunately, that they have supported the vegan washing of Israel by promoting its vegan coolness without mentioning the horrors of military occupation. And that's not going unnoticed with many of their followers. We'll listen to another song now, and then we'll talk about another kind of vegan washing, the so-called vegan birthright tours. Here's Invincible with No Compromises.
Metamorphosis, no better metaphor for this. Lyrics depart, my lips paint you a self-portrait. Then my people make it out of Auschwitz in order to become our own oppressors. Present situation is torturous. A fortress is built 25 feet tall, thickness 5 feet of concrete, apartheid wall. It's called a security fence, but all I see as far as the eye stretches our superiority complex. A new dawn, an awakening. Eyes wide open to the lies spoken, paper thin. No lifetimes frozen. Keep changing, no faking a plane. Pretend I'm hoping to step outside without choking on breaking wind. From factory smoke, this is sulfur, not cess. Schools closing chapters, getting ulcers from the stress. Breathing it gives you asthma, it's hazardous to your health. Just to be an inhabitant of the city where you rest is a quest for the spirit of resistance. You can hear it in the distance if you listen. Persistence. So what we fighting for? The day when you ain't even gotta fight no more, and that's the vision risen up to heights we soar. I hope I opened up a can of worms with all these anecdotes, cause you can never candy coat the truth. And once you know it proved, then you can't ignore. You'll equip him with this handy quote. At the risk of sounding ridiculous, true revolutionaries got about feelings of love. Give 100%. Demolish buildings and spilling civilians' blood. Collective punishment, but you know what I meant. A new dawn. Sun rising on the horizon, it's a new day. Every opportunity lies in the crisis. I'm giving this my all when I write this. We in it for the long haul, no compromises. I'm ready like Helen to tell him I want a divorce. In the wedding vows, they promise to protect and serve, but we battered wives don't even get respect we deserve. Increase police presence, adolescents get sentenced as felons, and there's never no preventative measures to help us change the conditions. Respectfully, without putting a life on the line for this industry of weaponry. There's a discrepancy of good cop, bad cop. Every cop operates with injustice as the backdrop. So for the have-nots, survival is padlocked inside of the jackpot. We ripping it to shreds. You ask what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, they both foul and rotten. Laws, politicians, the plotter, and the cops on patrol. Keep us locked to parole, man. They all getting cold and they stocking soap. Apathy's not an option for all the lessons in life that you learn. We not stopping till we get in the right of return. To all the Zionists denying this, listen. We're tireless. It's a new dawn, sun rising on the horizon. It's a new day. Every opportunity lies in the crisis. I'm giving this my all when I write this. We in it for the long haul, no compromises. True revolutionaries got about feelings of love. Give 100%. Demolishing buildings and spilling civilians' blood. Collective punishment. This ain't no isolated incident.
Welcome back. This is the Animal Rights Radio Show, and today we're talking about the vegan washing of Israel. Before the break, we talked about Vibe Israel and how they helped to make Tel Aviv become the vegan capital of the world as part of the Foreign Ministry's Brand Israel agenda. Now we're going to talk about another thing that's also part of this whitewashing campaign, and it's called vegan birthright tours. So first of all, what's a birthright tour? You might have heard about the fact that any Jewish person anywhere in the world has the right to come to Israel and become a citizen there. This is pretty crazy in and of itself, because we've mentioned the Palestinian refugees. There are still 7 million of them out there, and they are denied that citizenship. But Israel prefers its citizens to be Jewish, obviously, and to grow stronger as a Jewish nation, so they've been putting a lot of effort into attracting young Jews. Part of that effort are so-called birthright tours or heritage trips. What it means is that young people of Jewish heritage can visit Israel for free, and those trips are supposed to encourage them to, quote, discover new meaning in their Jewish identity and connect to Jewish history and culture. Like I said, these trips are fully sponsored, and out of over 600,000 participants, over 80% come from the United States and Canada. I've mentioned before that the Brand Israel campaign mostly wants to appeal to young liberals, coming precisely from such countries as the US and Canada. So under these circumstances, and with the vegan lifestyle hype growing, it's not surprising that last year they came up with a vegan version of the Birthright Tour. To give you a little impression of this, I have edited another compilation of YouTube videos. Let's check it out.
A monkey needs to dance, so do you.
Hello everybody, my name is Sienna Ariel. Welcome to my channel. Say hello. I'm Kat. This is Kat. Harley. And we're on a plane to Israel. We are all vegan Jews. And we're going to take you on our trip on this 10.5-hour flight. We are so excited for this amazing adventure.
It's kind of the first time I've actually been really surrounded by vegan peers.
I think the best part about the experience, it's been making connections with Jewish vegans.
I really liked it. It's so good. I'm happy.
The hummus is amazing. The one thing that I want to take from this trip is how it connects my vegan identity to my Jewish heritage.
Find out what it means that you are Jewish. Find out
We just got to our first hostel. We're eating. It's all vegan Israeli food. Hummus. That's all that matters.
The first thing I want to show you to demonstrate will be a variation of falafel. Okay? Yay!
Being at this farm, it's like being in another planet. Seeing those animals living without the fear of harm is the most beautiful thing to watch.
Finally, we can get to these deeper, higher level conversations that I haven't really ever experienced before because I just don't have vegan friends or even like Jewish vegan friends at all.
The trips changed my views on Judaism and my connection to it, and I've also learned a lot about veganism and the ethics behind veganism.
My commitment to activism was starting to wane a little bit, and I feel really reinvigorated by this trip.
It's reawoken some questions that I've had and some answers that I didn't know I was looking for, and it's just been a lot of fun.
It's inspiring to see that these two communities can coexist and actually benefit each other and allow people on either side, if they're both Jewish and vegan, to find a perfect community for them.
So that was my little YouTube compilation of a vegan birthright tour in Israel. Now, one thing that needs to be mentioned in this context is the cultural appropriation of food, because on these tours, they basically claim that all these vegan dishes are Israeli. As you might know, a lot of Middle Eastern food is naturally vegan. That goes for falafel, hummus, baba ganoush, tabbouleh, and all these things. They're just regional Arab or Middle Eastern Jewish dishes. But to say that these dishes are Israeli is a joke because Israel has only been around for 70 years, and all that food was obviously there before. I'll let you make up your mind about that. So we'll take another musical break now and then look into whether Israel can actually be considered a vegan nation.
صباح الخير يا ولاد عمومنا فضلوا شرفونا شو بتحب مضيفكم دم عربي ولا دموع من عيوننا بعتقد هيك تأملوا نستقبل من هيك تعقدوا لما تدركموا على غلطة من هيك لبسنا الكوفي البيضة والسودا صاروا كلاب زمان يلبسوها كموضة مهما تفننوا فيها مهما غيروا بلونها كوفية عربية بتضل عربية حطتنا بدنا اياه ثقافتنا بدنا اياه كرامتنا بدنا اياه كل شي إلنا بدنا اياه ما راح نسكت لن نسمح لن ليه بقلن
بيسوقوا شغلة مش إلهن ما خصن فيه قلدونا بنلبس لبس هالأرض بكفيهنش طمعانين عالقدس قدس اعرفوا كيف كونوا بشر ما بتلبسوا كوفية جينا نذكرن مين إحنا وغصب عن أبوهم هي حطتنا من هيك لبسنا الكوفية لأننا وطنية الكوفية كوفية عربية من هيك لبسنا الكوفية هويتنا الأساسية الكوفية كوفية عربية يلا علم كوفية علولي هالكوفية الكوفية كوفية عربية علو هلا بلاد الشام كوفية عربية بتضل عربية ما في بعد مثل الشعب العربي فرجوني أي أمي بالدنيا أكتر مؤثرة الصورة واضحة نحن مهد الحضارة تاريخنا وتراثنا الشاهد على وجودنا من هيك لبست الثوب الفلسطيني من حفا جنين جبل النار إلى رام الله خليني شوف الكوفية البيضة والحمرة خلينا نعليها لفوق بالسما أنا دية العرب الثاني بغص غزة الثاني بهز كلماتي حرب سجل أنا شادية منصور والحطة هويتي من يوم ما خلقت سيدي والشعب مسؤوليتي لك أنا تربيت بين الغرب وبين الشرق بين لغتين بين بخيل بين فقير شفت الحياة من الشقتين أنا مثل الكوفية كيف ما لبستوني وين ما شلحتوني بضلني عاوصولي فلسطينية من هيك لبسنا الكوفية لأننا وطنية الكوفية كوفية عربية من هيك لبسنا الكوفية هويتنا الأساسية الكوفية كوفية عربية يلا علم كوفية علولي هالكوفية الكوفية كوفية عربية علو هلا بلاد الشام كوفية عربية بتضل عربية كوفية عربية كوفية عربية عربية من هيك لبسنا الكوفية لأننا وطنية الكوفية كوفية عربية من هيك لبسنا الكوفية هويتنا الأساسية الكوفية كوفية عربية يلا علم كوفية علولي هالكوفية الكوفية كوفية عربية علو هلا بلاد الشام كوفية عربية بتضل عربية.
Some of y'all think it's a trend, a fashion statement. Disgustingly, I spit on the pavement. It's basic. Y'all know I bang for my flag. My bandana ain't no rag. The keffiyeh ain't no scarf. It's a part of the movement. The symbolism is resistance. No coincidence that you can see the RBG in it. Cable neath the bandana. Ain't it beautiful? I say it in Spanish. It's solidarity. The feelings is mutual. Meanwhile, that's M1 in Arabic. I'm pro-Falastini, does that make me a terrorist? You can catch me in Gaza, in Haifa or Ramallah, but I'm still just Mutulu Olubala. So when I rep the Sharjah, we rhyme with our middle fingers up to the Zionists, cause we don't give a fuck, it's justice. So tie that thing around your head and ride, wave it in the air and let me know what side you on. Uhuru, yeah. The keffiyeh is Arab. Yeah, it's M1. Solidarity, feel me, Sharjah. Do it. From the ghetto to Gaza, I keep it RBG up. Yeah. Bang for my flag.
We're back with the Tierrechtsradio, a Swiss animal rights radio show, and today we're talking about how more and more vegans are being brainwashed into thinking that Israel is the most vegan-friendly country in the world. To illustrate this, I'm going to quote from an online article in the Tower magazine that reads as follows, quote, "Over the past few years, Israel has been swept by a vegan revolution. It is now the most vegan country on earth, with a full 5% of its population eschewing all animal products. That number has more than doubled since 2010, when only 2.6% of Israelis were either vegans or vegetarians. Even the Israeli Defense Force have now gone vegan, offering animal-free food, boots and berets to vegan soldiers." End quote. So you've heard right. Not only can you be gay in the Israeli military now and get pink berets, you can also live a whole vegan lifestyle as an Israeli soldier. But what's with these numbers about the rise of veganism? Are they actually true? Well, not really. While some reports claim that 5% of the Israeli population are vegan, A more realistic research by the Central Bureau of Statistics shows that only 1.7% are vegans and 4.7% are vegetarians. Compare that to Switzerland, where, according to SwissVeg, 3% are vegan and 11% are vegetarians. Also, as activist Dylan Powell explains, Israel is in the top meat-consuming countries in the world, right after the US, New Zealand, Australia, and Austria, and it is in fact the largest consumer of chicken in the world. And the trend for meat consumption is growing. So Israel is really far from being a vegan nation. So yeah, that's basically it for what I wanted to share with you about the vegan washing of Israel today. Please do understand that this is all not to say that there isn't an actual vegan movement in Israel, or that veganism shouldn't be supported no matter what the political situation is. But the sad truth is that this particular vegan movement is being exploited, the same way that gay rights movement is being exploited, to promote Israel as a peace-loving, vibrant, modern, and liberal democracy, which it definitely isn't. Anyone who's ever set foot in Gaza or talked to people there will be able to confirm. If you want to know more about all this, you can check out Laura Schleifer, an amazing animal rights and Palestinian solidarity activist, who was the main source of the info in this podcast today. You can also check out a website called bdsmovement.net. BDS stands for Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions, and it's a Palestinian-led movement for freedom, justice, and equality. They will give you a lot of background info on what's actually going on over there, and you can support their protest by getting involved or joining the boycott by not buying any more Israeli products, or at least not the ones that are directly involved in the military occupation. Especially if you're a vegan, please do not buy the following products: Sabra and Tribe hummus, medjool dates from Israel, and Ben & Jerry's, even if they now have vegan ice cream. Ben & Jerry's is actually horrible because they're not only part of Unilever and involved in animal testing, they also sell directly to the Israeli settlers on occupied territories. Another wonderful organization that you can support is the Palestinian Animal League, or PAL. They do amazing work for animal rights in the West Bank and Gaza, supporting Palestinian animal rights advocates and promoting veganism the right way, while